r/TalesFromTechSupport, episode 13. When tech support meets tech support. I work for a company which gives iPads to remote users for logging information. We use a third-party program to log this information. One of my responsibilities is to mediate the issues between our company's tech support issues and the ones caused by the third-party program. In this story I will refer to myself as $ME, the third-party support rep as $REP, and his manager as $MANAGER. This morning, I get a complaint from an employee that they are unable to save notes in a certain section. They seem to be doing everything right, so I open a ticket with the third-party help desk and tell them about the issue, accompanied with a screenshot of exactly what I'm referring to. I get a pretty quick response. They call me directly instead of replying to the support ticket. We go through all the basic troubleshooting that I always make sure to do beforehand. iPad is up to date, the software is up to date, and the iPad has been restarted. Because of a language barrier, I spent several minutes trying to explain to him that my client was not trying to delete a certain section of the notes, but rather they were unable to fill out notes in a certain section. I finally get $REP to understand my issues, and then the following conversation occurs. $REP, everything is working fine from my end. I can save notes without any issues. $ME, that's great, but my employee cannot do this. $REP proceeds to explain step-by-step instructions on how to add notes. $ME, the employee is aware of how to save notes. The issue is that after they try to save them, the notes disappear and do not populate in the final report. $REP, I'm adding notes right now, and it's working fine. $ME, again, that's great that you can, but why is my employee unable to do so? $REP, I'm not sure, my computer works just fine. Could you have her go over this step by step on her computer while we are on the line? $ME, your computer, our employees only use iPads, the company should be well aware of this. We are their biggest client and we submit support tickets quite often. Besides, our employees work remotely and I communicate with them via email. $REP, let me forward this up to my manager. *on hold for several minutes. $MANAGER, I hear you're having issues with notes. $ME, yes, the notes will not populate in a certain section of the report. The employee can add notes to the report, but they disappear when the report is compiled. $MANAGER, strange, I can populate notes in that section just fine. $ME, that's great. $REP said he was able to do so as well, but this does not help my employee. Why do you think they are having this issue? $MANAGER, I'm not sure. Could we have the employee sit at a computer and do this step by step over the phone? $ME, no, our employees work remotely, and they only use iPads. We cannot sit down with them, and we cannot use a computer. I already told $REP this. $MANAGER, I see, let me check with our iPad development team. *PUTS me on hold for about a minute. This is a known issue and we are working to resolve it. A known issue. New VP improves the process, and almost gets me fired. Another story reminded me about this one. I was at a place where things were falling apart. Stale cases built up in our buckets because we kept on reducing the support staff to save budget. If a customer stopped responding, we didn't chase them down. We rarely had time to scrape through our queue to follow up on old cases. We got a new VP of customer success. She contracted out a support team in India and got rid of our team in Southern California. She replaced 3 very experienced people with a team of 12. Sounds good, but this team of 12 was new, and they were put on the phones immediately. She then handed down a new rule that we, US team, could absolutely do no overtime except for a maximum of 2 hours a week for on-call escalation consult. We didn't work directly with the customer for these, only the India team. When our shift was over, we were to warm transfer any active cases to the overseas or sourced team. No exceptions. My direct manager tried to push back against this new rule, but he was told to pound sand. I was on a call with a customer who also happened to be an investor, and they had a seat on our board. I usually handheld them through things, and I did a lot of after-hours stuff with them. They pretty much just worked with me most of the time. It got close to 5 PM, and I told them that due to new policies, I will have to hand this call off to the next shift. I got a little pushback, however the other guy understood office politics well enough to know that I had to hand him off. He asked to speak to my manager. My manager agreed to take the call and I handed it off to him. I then clocked out and went home. Well, the overseas team couldn't help the customer. He asked that the case be escalated, and they did so. It ended up back in my queue, but I was not allowed to even check in with the case. The guy emailed me directly, and I explained that we have new rules and I can't go around them. I also told him that since was not scheduled to be on call this weekend, I'm not allowed to work on the case. The guy that was already on call had maximumed out his 2 on-call hours for the weekend on Friday night. The case sat until Monday. On Monday, I jumped back on and got them fixed in about 30 minutes. The guy warned me that his boss raised a big stink with us, but they explained the situation and that it wasn't my fault. Since I was following orders, I should be all good. Come Monday afternoon, because everybody else comes in later than tech support, I got hauled upstairs with my direct manager, ours and the CEO. A folder with my name was sitting on the desk of ours. I'm pretty sure it was my termination letter, because fuck me, right? They asked me to explain what happened and why did I suddenly refuse to help our customer/investor and board member. I explained what happened and that I followed the rules to the letter. My boss jumped in and said he followed the rules as set by VP. I got on the phone and repeated the rules to the customer. I also told them that our VP set these rules and that there were to be no exceptions, and they accepted the transfer to the new guys. My boss then said here is an email I got from the customer, as well as a copy of the phone conversation. I don't know what kind of bullshit you guys heard, but you can see in the email here, they love our guy, and they want us to fix our policy. He pulled out another email and said here's a policy from VP. As you can see, she is very explicit that there are no exceptions. At this point I was excused from the room and sent back to continue my day. Later on, my boss comes downstairs and calls me into his office. He shuts the door and said listen to this. He played back some of the meeting that he recorded on his phone. I couldn't hear everything, but basically, they got the VP on the speakerphone and tore her apart. She tried to backpedal and said I already talked to TS boss, my boss, and he of course knows there are always exceptions. JAZZB54 doesn't know what he is doing. I'll take care of it. My boss spoke up and yelled out bullshit. Read the fucking email she sent me. My boss could be an belligerent ass, but he was always fair. Ours read the email exchange the VP had with my boss out loud, including the part where she emphasized that there were to be no exceptions. Recording ended at that point. Later that week, it was announced that my boss was the interim VP of Worldwide Customer Success. The previous VP was moved to VP of Operations. It was the 3rd time she was reassigned. Things went back to the way they were. Backlog still sucked, but we were at least able to help customers that worked with us. We got back our overtime and started booking 20+ hours of overtime a week. A short time later, I left for a job that paid much more, and I only had to work 40 to 45 hours a week. I still keep in contact with my former boss. The stories he tells me. I'm surprised they are even still in business. TLDR, new VP fucked shit up. I almost got thrown under the bus, but my boss saved me. VP didn't get fired, but I found a new job. Customer cursed out VoIP provider. As mentioned before, I'm an enterprise fiber guy, so I only deal in a layer 3 connection with a layer 2 switch, most times, other demic. About 3 years ago, guy called in absolutely livid about packet loss across his internet circuit. Me, no problem, sir. Let him check out the circuit. What's your circuit ID? After he gives me the circuit ID, he says, yeah, my VoIP provider says that your route is causing me to drop packets. So you're costing me money on my calls. I've been dealing with this from you for weeks. I pull the circuit, and, of course, I'm not seeing any issue. I ran a ping test and tracer out from the core to Google's DNS and a public IP from a well-known source as well as from 3 public looking glasses. Me, sir, I'm looking at this circuit and there is no issue. The optics are clean, the root is having no issues and all 3 looking glasses agree with our results. Cust, I'm sick of this. I'm bringing on my VoIP provider and you're going to fix this issue now. He puts me on hold and brings on rep for his VoIP. Rep, well, sir, we are seeing drops to your VoIP device on site so this is an ISP issue. Me, sir, the circuit hasn't dropped once, and I assume your VoIP provider is checking remotely. Do you have a connection that isn't using either one of us? Cust, yeah. Me, okay. Can you run a continuous ping to your gateway's IP and your VoIP provider's IP at the same time? If you want, you can run a ping to Google's DNS and your VoIP provider's IP in the circuit too. The guy starts his test and the rep says something snide, but not loud enough to be clearly heard. Cust, okay, both are running. Hold on, what the hell is this? Hey, VoIP rep. Why the hell am I showing packet loss to your IP, but not to my gateway? Rep, that's because you're using a coax modem to ping, and coax connections aren't guaranteed to Cust, but I'm not losing a single packet to my ISP gateway, and I'm not even on their network. Rep, again, that's because you're on a coax connection and Cust, really? Fine, let's run this on the fiber. He said sit up and says. Cust, oh yeah, there's a big difference now. The pings to Google's DNS are much better, and you're still dropping packets. Rep, well, sir, it could be an issue with the routing Cust, that shit doesn't make any sense. I'm even using a looking glass and packets are dropping to your IP. You all told me that my performance is great to the internet. I haven't dropped a single damn packet to the internet, but your shitty service is constantly dropping. You all told me that it was my provider for weeks and it's been your shit. I've wasted money on this. How do you explain this? The rep comes up with some answer, but I can't hear it, because I'm on mute laughing so hard that my leads pull the call to hear it. The rep gets off the phone and the guy says, I'm sorry for calling y'all. But can you believe this shit? They're blaming y'all and costing me money, and she tries to blow smoke up my ass while I'm running the test proving her stuff sucks. I don't remember what I said or what happened afterwards other than me laughing for another 10 minutes. Shamgar starts a low rent ISP. I guess we are a business now. Conclusion. Part 1 https://www.comments/r/tales_folly_ent_isp/part 2 https://www.comments/c2r792/shamgars_folly_starts_an_isp/part 3 https://www.reddit.com//talesfromtech_support/comments/c6ggSG/shamgars_low_part_3 we_cut_corners_corners_and/part 4 https://www.comments/c79sz/shamgars_low_budget_4larting_and_empty-headed/ previously on I'm starting a low budget ISP with a disreputable businessman. I've just racked 2 servers in a student apartment with a T1 line. I'm running on a few hours sleep, badly configured DNS, and I'm on questionable drugs. Hit it. I make my way back from Will's Carlo/apartment without serious incident. Marcus is nowhere to be found. I realize that I have a few things to do before I'm unfit for human company. I tutor freshmen and sophomores in intro economics and I have 2 or 3 sessions scheduled for today. A few answering machine messages, and I'm mostly good. I'm not having visual hallucinations yet, but I keep thinking the voices of people in the hallway or out on the street are talking to me. I ignore them for now. I've decided to avoid human contact and enjoy the ride. I grab my provisions and entertainment for the day. Asterisk a box of Golden Grahams cereal, asterisk a quart of convenience store iced tea, asterisk a VHS copy of Ralph Bakshi's Wizards. I start to settle in my little room and let Avatar and Black Wolf's antics wash over me when I realize that I hadn't actually finished debugging DNS. I start my Mac, connect to the internet and manage to log into my 2 servers. I think I see what I did wrong in my bind config files. A little tweaking, a restart of the server, and I think I'm good. I keep getting distracted by the movie, so I eject the VHS tape and put another in at random. I run through the domains we bought. They're all bringing up the little animated under construction animated GIF. For a few minutes, I stare at the little stick figure guy digging. I wonder if he'll ever finish his task or take a break. I feel a little sad. I know he's just a GIF, but I tap on the glass to check anyway. My phone rings. I stare at the flashing thing for a minute, hoping it will stop. The coherent part of me regrets buying the Unisonic 6900 clear phone with flashy lights, but it was only a few extra dollars. It stops ringing. It starts ringing again. The only way I can make it stop flashing is if I pick it up. I do. There's a voice on the other end of the phone. You know how George Orwell said by 50, everyone has the face they deserve. This person has the voice they deserve. She's earned it by dividing the world into 2 categories: the people that shit on her and the people she shits on me. Hello. Karen, is this law tetchy? Ivan told us that you'd make our site a priority. Me, regretting that I picked up the phone. Okay. Let me check my email to see what's going on. Karen, we are a very important customer and we expect your full attention. I turn my monitor back on and start a browser. I don't want to engage Karen in conversation while I wait for our Rube Goldberg Linux box acting as a router and dial-up controller to start shoving packets at me. I look at the TV screen and notice that I have bad taste in movies. I turn up the volume so I can hear the TV. Karen, did you hear me? Me, hold on a second. I'm checking something. TV, you are my agent. I'm your case officer. I, in turn, report to your controller Eudora, the best pop mail client ever written, finally opens my email. Ivan's been busy. He's managed to sell a website to our local tourist board for $100 a month. I've got to set up email for a few of their employees and he's going to start on a website. Karen, what's the hold up? TV, say, Bill, do you think you could rub some of this bug powder on my lips? Me, okay. Ivan's working on the site. I'm going to set up your email addresses and set the passwords to bug powder 95. You should change them the first time you log in. Karen, sounding more annoyed than previously. How am I expected to do that? I stop and look at Peter Weller's stony face for a second and turn off the TV. I need to concentrate. Karen, well. I Timbuktu into the mail server and start setting up Karen's domain and uses me. It's going to take me a few minutes to get everything set up. I've set up your users. Next I'm going to set up your web server. Karen, you said something about changing my password. Where do I put that? Me, hold on a second. One thing at a time. I start hearing a rustling on the phone. It takes me a second to realize that Karen is pouring through a bag of potato chips and eating them at me. Normally this would only be annoying, but combining my lack of sleep, Karen's existence and the chemicals in my brain, it's a maelstrom of awfulness. She's going to start gnawing on the phone and somehow yank me over the lines into her gaping more like some joke creature in Dragon magazine. Karen, clop. Carg. Crunch. I look for something to make this stop. For a reason you can guess, I decide the best thing to do is to eat back at her to balance out things. I shove a handful of Golden Grahams in my mouth and start chewing. I can't hear her chewing anymore. DNS is set up, and a stop/restart of the bind server looks like we are working. For some dumb reason, I'm finding it hard to correctly type their domain, since there's a significant lag between my keyboard and the remote control software. Karen's getting impatient, but she's put the chips down for the moment. Karen, what are you doing? How do I check my email? We have a dull conversation about finding an appropriate POP client, Outlook Express, and where to put in dull information such as incoming and outgoing email servers on the 4 different PCs in their office. She picks up some other foot stuff that sounds more chewy/slurpy than crunchy for the username/password part of this drill. 3 of the 4 systems go relatively easy, and I only have to eat a few mouthfuls of golden grahams at her. The 4th takes longer. It's the furthest from Karen's desk, so she pulls the phone cradle as far as it can go, puts the handset on some hard surface and walks away from it to the 4th PC. This requires me to yell the username and password several times at her. Karen, what, me, bug powder 95. Karen, where does that go me, in the box that says password? Karen, what goes there, me, bug powder 95. During all this, her phone is rocking on the table or desk it's sitting on, making an insectile clicking sound that I can hear. I'm imagining it turning into some giant Precambrian lobster, waving its awful artificial limb-colored claws at me. I look in my translucent phone to make sure it's not crawling through the lines and getting caught in the headset, like in Wrath of Khan. Karen either makes it work or gives up. I slowly disconnect the phone line from my phone and slide it out of my room. Marcus is in the hallway and sees me, covered in golden grahams, flustered and sweaty. Marcus, what was all that racket? Me, tech support. I decide to watch regular daytime TV in the living room with Marcus. For the only time in my life, I find Delta Burke, in designing women, hilariously funny. Amazingly enough, we kept the tourist board, bringing on several hundred accounts over the next few months. Ivan paid me sporadically when I threatened him, but never complained when I ran my friends' web stores, banned websites and PHPBB forums off of our servers. I remember getting the "tell us how you dealt with a difficult technical problem and how you solved it" question at a job interview. I considered telling the Karen story, but thought better of it and made up a more conventional story. What would the receipt say? This happened a couple years ago, but it is still on my mind. I was doing tech support for a software company. They had crappy cheap software and made money off their support service. The company was based in the United States and the users were working/doing business in the US, but they had been born in a poor Asian country and their understanding of English was poor. You know when you call for tech support and get someone in Asia and how frustrating it gets. Now imagine the opposite happens all day long. Let's just say I'm very glad not to work there anymore. Anyway, here is how that call went. Tech, thank you for calling. This is $ME. How can I help you? Customer, I want this client record removed from my program. Often they worded things poorly. We had to ask shouting questions as part of our call. T. Do you want to remove the transaction for this client or to remove the client record? C. Yes, that. T. Which one? The question presented 2 different scenarios. C. Client record *. I explained, in detail, that once removed there is no way to bring it back, including any transactions and information associated with the record. C. Yeah. *THIS often was a response. That meant I didn't understand anything you just said, but do what I told you to because I'm paying you for it. *. I removed the record as requested. T. Is there anything else I can help you with? C. Yes, I need a receipt that shows I didn't charge that record anything. *At this point I was about to lose it, but I have to remain professional. T. If you went to a store and left without purchasing anything, does the store give you a receipt? C. Yes. T. Okay, what would the receipt say? C. Idea of what we are talking about finally sinks in. *O. I see. Click. How do you download things? Note, I'm not actually tech support, but I'm the only one in my family capable of turning on a computer in less than 10 minutes, So I do my best, $me, myself a C's. My technically deprived sister a C's is much more used to using iPad/iPhone and PC, but even so this is madness a C's. $me come help. I can't find the software. $me walks over on $SIS''S screen as the Apple App Store for Mac. She thought you had to download all applications directly from the App Store and was wondering why this open source software was not available. $me. You have to download it off the internet a C's. What does that mean? *INTERNALIZEDSCREAMS**$me. Go to Google, look up the software, go to the website, and click download a C's. Does so a C's. What now? $me. Go to the file and click install a C's. Where? $me. In the downloads folder. Where else? A C's takes an agonizing amount to time to open Finder a C's. What now? $me. Just open downloads. It's right there. A C's clicks downloads and holy gosh, there are literally gigabytes of multiple downloads and half completed downloads. There are corrupted files labeled as created in 1970. $me. Holy mackerel, where did all these files come from a C's? Oh, that's where they went. I clicked download about 10 times and they didn't show up in my desktop. $me. So we'll deal with that later. There is a software, click on it, a C's opens, installer a C's. What now? $me. Just follow the instructions. A C's takes about 10 years to read every line of the instructions, but finally she installs the program a C's. Where is it? It's not in my apps. A C's points to the dock. I'm fed up at this point and just added to the dock myself. $me. All good. A C's. Yep. And it was done. Thank bloody god it was done. For anyone who is interested, there were 10 GB of crap in that downloads folder. Ordered to learn SEA. So I worked for this third-party MSP for a couple of months and Lord knows I can make a ton of posts about my time there, and I probably will over time, but wanted to make my first post in this group not too long and #X200B. So as the MSP, my boss/owner, $CEO, decided that we need to be our clients' go-to people for anything with technology, including security camera installation and website design. He was smart enough to subcontract that stuff out to people who specialize in that, so we can focus on the computer/network aspect. Well, one day, he decides that the next big thing we need to get the corner on at website marketing and search engine optimization, SEA. This seems like a smart move, considering that we have company next door to us, that we could subcontract that out and have them refer their clients to us for their MSP work and #X200B. The only problem with this, $CEO doesn't feel that he could get what he would charge clients after a markup for profit on our side to make it work. So he decided that instead of paying a company whatever it was, he could just charge the client that, then have his technicians, all 2 of us, do it to keep us busy. We both objected, but he pushed back with, well, how hard can it be? I responded, have you ever looked into it yourself? It's one thing to know the concept of SEA, but another to know how to make it work and #X200B. He kept bringing it up for about 2 weeks, because he felt that anything you could do/view on a computer, then his technicians should be able to do without issue. Finally we both had enough and said, well, if you think it's so easy, why don't you look into it first and get back to us once you're an SEA master that you think we should be. Never heard of it again. But they're all the same. So I provide escalation support to a number of contracted desk-side support techs throughout the US. Today I get an from one of them needing a hand changing the VLANs on a number of ports. I find the easiest way to do this is typically to have them provide me the MAC of a device plugged into that port, and then I can just track it down from the core switch. We've done this a couple of times before with this tech, and it should have been simple enough. What floored me was when he stated, I'm pretty sure all the ports have the same MAC address. No, that's the MAC of the laptop you're plugging into it, not of the port itself/FASIPM.